update the F value. So that is what in the case of open list. And if that duplicate node occurs in the case of a closed list, so we had discussed the two cases. So if the node already exists in the closed list, just see point number 4. So if the node already exists in the closed list, so then in that case, if the new path is better, so you have to update the G value of the current node, as well as you have to update the G value of the children, because children will be there in the case of a closed list, because the node has already been expanded also, right? So in that case, there will be children also. So you have to update the G and F values of children also. This we do using depth first search. So this was, and then one more thing was there. While traversing through its children, when you are updating the cost of children, in that case, when you are traversing through the children, if there is a duplicate child also, so if while traversing the children, there is a duplicate child present, then in that case also you have to follow the same procedure. So basically, in the case of that child also, you have to find out which path is better. The path to that duplicate child which was already existing is better, or the path to the duplicate child via the new path is better, basically. So if the new path is better, you have to and if the old path is better, then you have to basically take the child, you have to reach the child through the old path only. So you have to basically follow the same procedure. So you have to check for better path by comparing the G values of the current path and the path that we are following that to that node, basically the new, this 3 and 4 points, these are the two in the case of a duplicate node, right? So let us see the example to understand how we work with duplicate nodes. So just see this example. There is a graph given to you on the right hand side. So let us, so basically your goal is L. So goal state is L. So you have to reach this L, right, on the leaf node. So that is your goal state, and you have to start from A. So basically you have to show the step-by-step generation of the A star search tree to reach the goal state L. And okay, so here you have to assume one thing, that your duplicate node, if there is a node which is already existing in the graph, then it is already generated node. Okay, so assume here that if there is a duplicate node that exists in the graph, then it was generated before the same node which is on the current path. So why? So you will understand this assumption. Why I'm taking this assumption, because I just want you to understand the concept of how to work with duplicate nodes. So that is why if some node is coming and that is a already existing node in the graph, then we are assuming that it is a duplicate node. That means it was already generated node. Okay, because it might be there in the open list or in the closed list, or it might not be there. So for the convenience sake, just to explain you the concept of how to work with duplicate nodes, just I'm assuming that if there is a node, so okay, so just see in this graph, students, just see on the second branch of the tree, from A you are getting C, and then from C you are getting G. Okay, so G is also present in this graph on the left hand side branch of the tree. Just see the left hand side branch of the tree, A, then B, then F, then G, right? So G is a duplicate node because it is existing in two branches of the tree. Okay, so basically if you are reaching a particular G, okay, through a path, then I am assuming that it is a duplicate node. So then I am assuming that it is a duplicate node. Okay, because I'm assuming that it is an already generated node. Maybe it may not be an already generated node because it may not belong. I mean, if you reach this G through the path A, then C, then G. So it may not be the case that the path through the left hand side branch of the tree is already traversed path. So it may not be the case that G belongs to the open list or closed list. So it may not be the case. Okay, but just for explaining you how to work with duplicate nodes, in this example, I'm assuming that if G occurs in this path A, then C, then G, so I'm assuming that the left hand side branch is already traversed and G is already generated node, because I want to declare this G as a duplicate node. That is why. Okay, so that is my assumption just for helping you understand the concept of working with duplicate nodes. So now let us see how the solution works out for this. So here, basically your f value is equal to h plus g. So heuristic value I have taken on the left hand side and the g value I have taken on the right hand side. Okay, so h plus g. So now this how the solution would be. So you start with the node A. Okay, so you see the so basically your f value would be h plus g. So what is the f value of B? From A you will generate B, C and D as the successors, right? So these B, C and D will be in your basically in your open list. So you have to choose the one with the lowest f value. So what is the f value of B? F value of B is 5, 4 plus 1 is 5, and f value of C is 3 plus 1 is 4, and f value of D is 5 plus 1 is 6, right? So that means you will choose the lowest f value node. So you will choose the node with the value of 4. So that is C. So you will choose C. Fine. That's what is written over here. So you choose C as the best node since it has the lowest f value, that is 3 plus 1 is 4, right? So now when you choose C, you will generate the successors of C and add them in the open list. So G and D are the successors of C. So you add G and D in the open list, right? Fine. So now you add G and D in the open list and you choose the node G. Why? Because now G becomes your best node because it has the lowest F value. How? Just compare the F values. See, the open list now contains B, D, G and E, right? So from these four nodes, the one with the lowest F value is G, right? The one with the lowest F value is G because its F value is 4, right? So you select G. Now, when you select this G, G is an already generated node. Okay, so this is an assumption, students. Please don't confuse here. What I'm saying is G is an already generated node. But actually, if you see while traversing this graph, this left hand side G, that is not there in the open list already, right? Just now you generated G, right? But I'm taking this assumption that whenever you are generating a node and that is already existing in this graph, then I'm assuming that it is already traversed node, just because I want to explain you the concept of how to deal with a duplicate node. Okay, so assuming that G is an already generated node because it's already existing in the graph, okay, in this graph which I'm showing to you. So G is an already generated node. So it's a duplicate node. Okay. And now it has got children. So you see the original graph. Just see the original graph over here. G has got children also. G has got two children, J and K has got a child, L. So basically G has got children also. So in which list it would belong? So G is a duplicate node. So it belongs to open list or closed list. Which one? Closed list, right? So G belongs to the closed list, right? So you have to check that which path is better. Okay. So you have two G's. Now you have to see which path is better. So the A, right? So you compare how you will find which path is better. You compare the G values of both the paths, right? So basically the G value of G from this path ACG you would find out, and the G value of G from the left hand side branch of the tree. That means A, B, F and G. That one you find out. Fine. So which path would be better? You have to compare the G values. So the G value of the path through ACG. So that G has got a G value of 2, right? So the G value of G via ACG is 2. It's written 2 plus 2. So that is H plus G. So that means G is 2 for this particular G. Fine. And if you consider the left hand side branch of the tree, then the G value is 3. 2 plus 3 it is given. For the left hand side G, it is given as 2 plus 3. Right. So H plus G. So the G value is 3. So 3 and 2 you have to compare. So the left hand side branch of the tree leads to a G which has got a G value of 3, and the right and this ACG branch of the tree has a G value of 2 for the G, right? So now which path would be better? the middle one, ACG, correct. So ACG path would be better because it has got a less G value, right? So, so basically, students, G value is nothing but the cost of getting from the initial node up till the current node. So basically, if you say in your common terminology or in the general terminology, the number of levels that you have traversed, that is nothing but the G value. Okay, so from the initial node, whatever number of levels of the tree that you have traversed, or the number of edges basically that you have traversed to get to the current node, that will become your G value, right? In the general terms. So if you see here, I have placed the G values according to that logic only. So if you see the G value of G via the path ACG, that is 2, because we have traversed 2 levels to reach this G. And if you see the left hand side branch of the tree via ABFG, so here 3 levels you have traversed, 3 edges. So that is why the G value is 3. So basically it is a longer path than the path ACG, right? So that is why we have chosen the new path because it is shorter. So ACG path is shorter. So you choose the ACG path. That's what is written over here. So on comparing G values, that is 3 and 2 via the current path through ACG, we find that the path through the this current path, that means ACG is cheaper. So what we have to do, you have to basically, so this was your original graph, and now you see that the new path is better. Fine. So basically you have to update the G so that your G is reached via the new path ACG. So how you will do, you have to basically update the G and F values of this new G. Fine. So what you do is you reset the parent of G to C. Fine, because the parent of G was initially F through the path ABFG, but now you are reaching G through C. So basically what you will do is you will basically reset the parent of G to C and update the G and F values accordingly. So how you will update? Since this G is belonging to the closed list, so you have to update the G value, G and F value of G also, and the children of G also. So there are 3 children of G. Children of G are J, K, and L. Fine. So you have to update the G and F values for G also and for J, K, and L also. And you have to just reset the parent of G to C. So parent of G will not be F now, it will become C. So that's what has happened in this. Just see here, you have cut the parent link of G towards F, you have cut that, and you have made the parent of G as C. That's what has happened in this graph. Okay, so the parent of G has become C and the children have also moved. So if you see in the original diagram, the children of G were J, K, and L, and that was the leftmost branch of the tree. But now in this solution graph, you have just cut that link from G to F and you have taken G with all its children towards C. So now C has become the new parent of all this complete sub branch. That branch G, J, K, L, that branch completely has moved to the parent as C. So you see, this is what has happened. So that branch G, J, K, L, that complete subtree that has completely moved as a, it has made its parent as C. Fine. So now you update the G and F values of G. It will be 2 plus 2 because it's a new path. So 2 plus 2 was the new G's value. So that will remain. And now the children are J, K, and L. So how you will update the values of J, K, and L? The heuristic value will remain same, only the G value will change. So the F value of J was 3 plus 4. So now it will become, so what will be the new F value of J? Can anybody tell me? So G is in the closed list. Okay. G is in the closed list because it has got children also. Fine. So now, yeah, 3 plus 3. Okay, students, one thing you just assume that I am not emphasizing in this example on the creation of open and closed list. I'm not emphasizing on this example because in the creation of open and closed list, if you consider the sequential creation, that how we are creating the open and closed list, then this G is not a duplicate node because it was not generated, right? You have generated from A, B, C, and D. From A, you have generated B, C, and D. Then from C, you have generated G and D. So according to that, G, E, B, and D, they are in the open list. So G is not a duplicate node according to that. But for this, for the sake of explaining you how to work with duplicate nodes, so that is why I'm taking this assumption that if there is a node which is already existing in this graph which is given to you, then you are assuming that it is already generated and generated node. So that assumption I'm making. So don't worry about open and closed list in this example, how we are maintaining the open and closed list. Just try to understand the concept of working with duplicate nodes. Okay. Otherwise, when you generate the open and closed list, in that only you have to search for the duplicate nodes, not in the complete. I mean, this graph is given to you and assumption is also given to you. But otherwise, in a normal example, when you generate the open list and closed list, the nodes that you generate have to be duplicate only if they are present in the current open list and closed list. Leftmost G is not connected, it is deleted. So that is why, if you see here, Nitin, just see here, the leftmost G connected to F. Now you have reset, so that is not connected. That is broken now. That link is broken now. So now there is no G from F. Now that G is lost from G to F. So that is why I'm taking this assumption that there is no G from F to G. Is it okay, Nitin? Okay, fine. So now you update the cost A as 3 plus 3 because now it is only 3 levels away from A, and K will become 1 plus 3. 1 is same, but the G value has changed. It was 4, now it has become 3. So 1 plus 3 is the new F value of K. And what about L? So basically, L will get updated as 0 plus 4. So in the previous slide, the L was having a F value of 0 plus 5 and K was having 1 plus 4. So now K will have 1 plus 3 and L will have F value of 0 plus 4. So that's how you get the children also updated. Now if you see here, from you had generated up till G, fine, and you had seen that it was a duplicate node, so you shifted all the complete subtree towards C. Now you had selected G, so now you were, the current node was G. So now you will select the children of G as J and K, and which one you will select out of J and K? You have got their updated F values, so which is the lower F value. So basically your open list consists of B, D, E, J and K. So just see your open list now. Your open list consists of B, D, E, J and K. This is your open list. So now from G you are generating J and K, right? So basically your open list consists of B, D, E, J and K. Fine. Now you see J and K, out of this B, D, E, J and K is the lowest F value. So you will select K for expansion next. Fine. So when you select K for expansion, you get L. Fine. So now your open list consists of B, D, E, J and L. B, D, E, J and L. Right? So now L is having the lowest F value and also it is the goal state, right? Because it has got the heuristic value of 0. You reach your goal state, fine, and it has got the lowest F value also. But L is again a duplicate node. If you see, L is also present in the rightmost branch of the tree. The last node is also L only. Okay, so again we are assuming that this is an already generated node. Actually it is not an already generated node because it is not in the open list or in the closed list, right? But assume that it is existing in this graph which I am giving to you. So assume that it is an already generated node. So now which path is better? The path via the current ACGKL is better, or the path via ADMOQRL, the rightmost path, that is better. So you have to again compare the G values for this. So the G value of left hand side path is 4 for L, and via the right hand side path, the L is having a G value of 6. That means the path through ACGKL, that is better. Right? So you will choose the new path, and you have to reset the R. But now L should point to K. Fine. So now you update the L value as 0 plus 4, and L is not having any children. Yeah, voice is clear, students. I think net is better today. Voice is, you are able to understand me. Okay, breaking in between, or is it, are you able to understand it continuously? If it is too much breaking, then please inform me, students. I will change the internet connection. Okay, fine. So what I'm saying is you have to reset the parent of L from R to K, because if you compare the G values of L, the G value of L via ACGKL is 4, and via the rightmost branch it is 6. So you have to reset this link also. Fine. So that is why I have broken this link. So if you see that slanting line, that means that this link is broken now. Okay. So you break this link and you make that path as the new path through ACGKL. Now this L is not having any children, so it is said to belong to the open list. Fine, it's not having any children, so you don't have to update the cost of children in this case. In the previous case of G had got children also, so that is why you were updating the cost of children also. But in this case, there is no child of L, so you just have to update the cost of L, and we say that L belongs to the open list. It is that case because it doesn't have any children, right? So this is the case. So if you see the explanation here, students, so this is the explanation of what I have just explained. So you are you had basically generated L, and L was also already generated node, but it was not expanded node. So you compare the G values of both the paths, the old path and the path via this best node K, right? And then the old path to successor was not better, the new path was better. So you compare the 6 and 4 as the G values, and then you find that the path through this new path is better. So you reset the parent link of L to K instead of R. So since L has no successors, so we don't need to update the cost of the children. So this is one case. And one more thing I would like to tell you here, students, is that in the case when you are resetting when you are finding the duplicate node of L, so this is the case where you are actually traversing the children of G. And while traversing the children of G through J and then from K to L, that L also you found a duplicate node. So you have done the similar procedure on L also. So that is nothing but this point. So this point which is written in the A star algorithm, just see here, point number 4, the second paragraph of point number 4. So it is written in the second paragraph that while traversing the children, again we need to repeat the same procedure and check for better paths. So that is what we have done over here. If you see here, so if you see in this example, while traversing the children also of G, we found the duplicate child L. So for that also we have done the similar thing. We have tested which path is better, and the new path was better. So we have updated the G value and we have reset the parent. So now the parent of L is not R, it is K. Fine. So every time when you find a duplicate node, there will be two cases. The node could be in the open list or the closed list. If it is in the closed list, you have to update the cost of the node as well as its children. If it is in the open list, you have to update only that child. Okay. And basically, if it is in the closed list, you have to update the children also. And while traversing through the children, if you again find a duplicate node, similar as in this example. In this example, while traversing the children of G, you found L, and L was again a duplicate node. So again, you have to check and follow the same procedure. So you have to check again. So we checked again here and we found that the new path to L is better. So you again reset the link L from R to K. Okay, so that's what was written in the algorithm also. So now finally you reach L through this new path, and the final value of L through this new path is, just see here. So the goal state L is reached with an F value of 0 plus 4. So the F value of this goal state L is 0 plus 4. The path, so the path to this L is now ACGKL. So the path through A and C, new path, and it has got the f value of 0 plus 4, that is 4. So that's how you have reached the goal state. Okay? So that's how you have reached the goal state. This broad arrow, no, this double line arrow, that is your solution path through A star search. A, C, G. Can you hear me, students? Can you hear me, students? Say yes or no. Okay, fine. So let me again open the presentation. So it was being in between. I will just repeat what I said. So I was just saying that we reached the goal state L through this path ACGL, and the F value of this path was through L. I mean, we reached L and the F value was 0 plus 4, that is 4. Okay, so this is how we have generated the A star search tree, and the path is ACGKL, the one in the double line arrow, the broader line arrow, that is your solution path. So that you have generated the A star search tree for this example. Are you able to get this, students? Example. See students, one thing in this example is I was just explaining you the duplicate node concept. So don't confuse it with how we have created the open and closed list, because in this example, G and L, I have considered them as duplicate nodes. Okay, but they are not actually duplicate nodes, because if you see G, when you generated G, at that time this leftmost G was not there in the open list or the closed list. Okay, so it was not a duplicate node actually, but I have just taken this assumption to help you understand how to work with duplicate nodes. Similar is the case of L. When I considered L as duplicate node, I was assuming that it is there in the open list. Okay, so when I generated this G, I was assuming that the other G is there in the closed list, and when I generated this L, I was assuming that the other L is there in the open list. So through a correct process only. If it is belonging to the correct open list and closed list, then only it is a duplicate node. So please mind this assumption, students, in this example. This is an example which I have created myself just to tell you the duplicate node concept. Okay. Is it clear, students? Are you able to understand? Have you understood the assumption, students, what I have made in this, the assumption? Okay, can you tell me whether you have understood what I am saying? What is the assumption over here which I have made? Say yes, and then you can write yes about assumption, something like that, so that I get that you have got the assumption or not. Are you able to understand the assumption? If I'm okay. Yeah, the assumption is left and right branches were created before. Yeah, correct. So I have just assumed this, but that is not correct, because the correct way is you will create the open and closed list, and then you will check whether it is a duplicate node, whether it belongs to the open list or closed list. But in this example, I have made some assumptions because I wanted to consider them as duplicate nodes. Okay, fine. So let us move forward now, students. Overestimating and underestimating the heuristic function. So this is one property of A star algorithm. If you underestimate the heuristic function, then it is always guaranteed to find the optimal solution. Okay. If you underestimate the heuristic function, it is guaranteed to find the optimal solution. But if you overestimate the heuristic function, you are not guaranteed to find the optimal solution. So first of all, let us see what do you mean by overestimating and underestimating. Double arrow is nothing. I have just represented that it is a solution path. Double arrow, I have indicated that it is a solution path. Okay. Okay, Abhishek. Fine. So underestimating a heuristic function means that I have actually given the heuristic function a lower value than it should have. So let us see this example on the left hand side diagram. A has generated B, C, and D, and I have given a heuristic score of B as 4 and C as 5 and D as 6. Okay, and they are one level away from A, so G value is 1, 1, 1 for all three. So the total value is 4 plus 1 for B, 5 plus 1 for C, and 6 plus 1 for D. Okay, now basically this B might be many moves away from the goal state, but I have underestimated its value as 4 moves away from the goal state. Okay, so basically I have underestimated this heuristic value as a lower. So let us say it was some more moves away from the goal state, but I have assumed that it is only 4 moves away from the goal state. Okay. So in that case, if I proceed further and generate the child, so which one I will select from B, C, and D? I will select B, and I will select C. Why? Because actually we are not moving towards the goal state. We are assuming that it is only 4 moves away from the goal state. But actually it was more moves away from the goal state. So in that case, I have underestimated this heuristic value as a lower value. Uh, yeah, students. Yeah, I think connection was gone, but now can you hear me? I will repeat. I will repeat this. Can you hear me? Okay, I will repeat. So I was saying that A has generated B, C, and D, and B is the child which we have assumed that it is 4 moves away from the goal state. Now it was actually not 4 moves away from the goal state. It was more moves away from the goal state. But we assumed the heuristic value as only 4 moves away. So we have underestimated this value. Okay, so now when we choose this B and generate its child as G, G is also 4 moves away from the goal state. Why? Because actually we are not moving towards the goal state. It is not the solution which we were assuming. We assumed that B is a good solution and we gave its heuristic value as 4. But it was actually not a good solution. It was not reaching. See, we are assuming this thing, okay? So we are actually B, we are saying that it is 4 moves away from the goal state, but actually it was more moves away from the goal state. So see, I'm saying this as the case when B is not the optimal solution. Okay, so in that case, I'm taking that case where B is not the optimal solution actually. That is the case. But if B is not the optimal solution, can we get towards the optimal solution even if we have underestimated the H value of B? That is what is the situation. I'm discussing that situation. Situation is that B might not be the correct path, but we have actually wrongly led towards that B path. Okay. So in that case, can we get to the correct path? Can we get to the optimal solution? That is what I'm discussing. Okay, Nitin. So, yeah. So, what I'm saying is, if B, we have assumed that it is the correct path and it is only 4 moves away, then it will generate its child as G, but it is still not moving towards a solution because G is also 4 moves away only. If it was a good solution, then G should be now 3. It should have a heuristic value of 3 now. And then G should generate H, and H should have only a heuristic value of 2. So, basically, at each level, it should decrease the distance from the goal state, but that is not happening, right? So actually the path through B was a worse path than we assumed it initially. We assumed it was a better path, but it was actually a worse path. So after some moves, what will happen is, after some moves, the G value will keep on increasing, but the heuristic value is not decreasing. So heuristic value is remaining same. It is remaining 4 only. But the G value is increasing as we are going level by level. So at some point of time, you will realize that the total F value has become larger than the other ignored nodes. So at that time, the search will backtrack and pick up some other node in the open list which has got a lower F value. Okay, so if you see when you generate from B, when you generate G, G has got a F value of 6, right? And the other nodes in the open list, they are C and D. So the other nodes in the open list, that is C and D, they have got a F value of 6 and 7. So you continue on that path only because C and D have also not got a lower value. So you continue on this path only. So you generate from G, H. Now when you generate H, it has got a F value of 7. So in that case, you have a lower F value node already existing in the open list. And that lower F value is C because C has got a total F value of 6 and H has got a F value of 7. So in that case, you have realized that you already have a better node in the open list. So the search will backtrack from H and it will now follow the path through C. Okay. So the basically if we have made a mistake in underestimating the heuristic function of B, so we have made B a better node, but it was actually not a better node because when we traversed the path through B, it was not leading towards the solution because the heuristic values were not decreasing. So at some point of time, it will happen that the total F value would become more than the earlier ignored nodes in the open list. At that point, the search will backtrack and lead towards the correct path. So the correct path in this case is through C. That's why I'm saying that if we have underestimated the heuristic function's value, then at some point of time that heuristic value will not lead towards a solution and the F value will indicate that we will backtrack. F value will actually help us to backtrack and follow the correct path. So in the case Yeah, so I was saying this student. So in the case of underestimating the heuristic function of B, in this case, after some point of time, you will have your F value greater than some previously ignored nodes F value. In that case, you will backtrack your search. So you will follow the correct path at that time. So in the case of underestimation, your search will backtrack at some point of time and it will go towards the correct path. So you will lead towards an estimated heuristic function. At some point of time, search will backtrack and follow the optimal path. So if you see the overestimating case, so if you see the overestimating case, so if you see the other case on the right hand side diagram, the overestimation of the heuristic function. Let us say you have assumed the heuristic value of D, this last node D, as 6. So you have made it actually 6 moves away from the goal state. Assume that it was not 6 moves away, it was a good, but you overestimate its value as 6. So you have made a assumption that it is 6 moves away, but assume that it was not 6 moves away. So this was actually the solution path through D, but actually you overestimated its value. Fine. So now which one you will choose? From B, C and D, you will choose B, right? So when you choose B, it leads to G, and G is also the heuristic value of G is 3. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So 5 is the F value of G, and the earlier nodes in the open list, that means C and D, have got their F values as 6 and 7. So you will proceed on G only. So when you proceed on G, you will generate H. Now H has got a heuristic value of 2 and G value of 3. So total value 5. So again, it is equal to or less than C and D. So you proceed on this path only. So finally you regenerate F. Now from F is also 1 plus 4. So again 5. So you'll proceed on this path only and you will reach this E. Now in your goal state, but you have reached E through how many nodes? There are five levels you have traversed to reach this E. Okay. Suppose through D there was only two edges. There was only two levels, and after those two levels you were reaching the final E. But actually, so basically, I'm saying that through D, you might be having a better path, but you made D look so bad. That means you have given the heuristic value of D so high that you will never choose this D. Okay, because the total F value of D is 7. And when you go to the left hand side branch, you are always getting a lower F value. And finally, you reach the goal state through five levels of nodes. So you reach the goal state through five edges, through five levels. But it might be the case that the goal state E could be reached via D through a shorter path. But since you have taken the heuristic value of D so high that you will never choose this path via D. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. You can reach E through the left hand side path also and through the path via D also. But you have overestimated the heuristic value of D so high that you will never reach the path via D. You will never follow the path via D. You will choose the path via D only, and you will reach the goal state E through a longer path. So this longer path is not an optimal path actually. So that's why I'm saying that if you overestimate the value of a heuristic function, in this case you have overestimated the heuristic value of D. So when you overestimate the heuristic values, you are not guaranteed to find the optimal solution, because the optimal solution might be existing in on that path, but you will never choose that path because you have overestimated the heuristic value as so high. So in this case, the total F value of D is 7. So that is why you will never follow this path through 7, and you will follow the path through the left hand side branch and reach the goal state via a longer path. So it is not an optimal path. So, okay, so basically, this means, oh, estimating the see different heuristic functions, correct? So, in case you are using different heuristic functions, then they will lead to different heuristic scores. So, I am saying that through some heuristic function, you have given the score as 6 to D, but actually it is not 6 moves away from the goal state. So it depends upon the heuristic score, right? So some heuristic function you have chosen, and that heuristic function has overestimated your heuristic value. I mean, it has overestimated the remaining distance from the goal state. So basically, that heuristic function is overestimating your current node's remaining distance from the goal state. So it depends upon the heuristic function, how it is estimating the heuristic value. Okay, heuristics are also playing a very important role in finding the remaining distance and choosing the correct node, right? So if your heuristic function is such that it is overestimating, yeah, so what I'm, yeah, I will repeat. Students, can you hear me? Okay, fine. I'm just trying to display my slides also. 1 minute. Okay, fine. So what I was saying was, students, is that if you are overestimating the heuristic function, you are not guaranteed to find the optimal solution. Overestimating and underestimating heuristic function means heuristic functions are different heuristic functions, right? Suppose in the I had given an example of 8 puzzle problem, right? So in the 8 puzzle problem, you could take different heuristic functions. You could take the heuristic function as one for the, you could take the heuristic function as number of incorrect tiles. You could take the heuristic function as number of correctly placed tiles, or you could take the heuristic function as count the number of tiles it is far away. So for each tile, you find out how much far it is from its correct position, and then you take the sum of those counts. So that was another third heuristic function. So depending upon the choice of your heuristic functions, it can be an overestimating heuristic function or an underestimating heuristic function. If the heuristic function is chosen in a way that it is overestimating the heuristic value of a particular node, so in that case, your solution will not be an optimal solution. And if the heuristic function is chosen in a way that it is underestimating the heuristic cost, in that case, you are guaranteed to find the optimal solution. That's what I'm saying. So this is just an example to tell you both the situations, if the heuristic function is overestimating heuristic function or it is underestimating heuristic function. Nitin, are you able to get this? Okay, so shall we proceed further? Students, any doubt in A-star algorithm? We have finished A-star algorithm. So our observations are this. If heuristic function is underestimated, we are guaranteed to find an optimal solution. If the heuristic function is overestimated, we cannot be guaranteed to find the optimal solution. So that's what about A-star algorithm. Any doubts in A-star? We have finished A-star, then we will start with AO-star algorithm. Is it clear? A-star algorithm? So I'll give an idea about AO star algorithm also, students. So AO star algorithm is called as, you have a class from 12 o'clock. I'll just take 2 minutes and explain you. Then you can basically leave, right? So AO star algorithm is basically based on the concept of problem reduction. Problem reduction means it is basically deals with decomposable problems. So if you want to solve a particular problem, what you do is you break it down into smaller subproblems, and then you find a solution to each of the subproblems. And then to find the solution to that problem, you combine the solutions to the subproblems. Okay, so this is basically problem reduction. So suppose in order to use this approach, we use and or graphs. So basically, and arc is there and or arc is there in a graph. Or arc means it is an independent subtask, and if the two subtasks are connected via an and arc, it means that they are dependent subtasks. Okay, so and arc points to a number of successor nodes, each of which are dependent on each other. So suppose you take this example. Let us say you want to acquire a TV set. Okay, you want to acquire a TV set. So there are two options how to get it. One option is, I mean, it's not an ethical option, but stealing, right? So that could be one option. Somebody could think in that direction also. Other option is you earn money and buy the TV set, right? So now these two things, earning money and buying the TV set, these are two subtasks which are dependent on each other, right? If you want to acquire a TV set, you have to earn money and then buy. But if you want to steal it, you can directly steal and you will get the TV set. So basically, stealing is an independent task to satisfy the goal, acquiring the TV set. But earning money and buying, they are both dependent tasks. Both of them have to be solved if you want to acquire the TV set. Both of them should be finished. So they are connected by an AND arc. AND arc will point to both the subtasks, and this arc which you are placing in between the two sub goals, this indicates that they are dependent tasks. So both of them have to be finished in order to satisfy that main goal. Okay, so this is an AND arc. They are dependent tasks, so it's an AND arc. If it is an independent task, it's an OR arc. So there are two arcs, and the graph which contains an AND arc and an OR arc, it is called as an AND OR graph. So AND OR graphs work for decomposable problems. If I want to acquire a TV set, I can earn money and buy. So this is a decomposable problem. If I want to acquire a TV set, I have to do two things, earning money and buying. So it is decomposed into two subtasks, and if I can satisfy both the subtasks, I will be able to get the TV set. So this is an example of a decomposable problem, the problem of AO star search. It's applicable for AND OR graphs. So basically, how do we calculate the costs in AND OR graphs, and what is it, that we will discuss in the next class. Next class will be on Saturday, students. This Saturday at 11 o'clock. That is the timetable's timings. Because we missed yesterday's class, so I will take that class on this Saturday. Divya, did you get this information, Divya? Are you there? Vaibhav? Okay, yeah, Divya. Yeah, Divya, please inform all the students. We will have our next class on this Saturday. Okay? Okay, fine. And please take the attendance, Divya. Done? Okay, thank you, Divya. Please mail the attendance. Thank you, students. We'll meet on Saturday and continue this. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.